I was very moved. I think we just observed in person not just the leader of the Catholic Church, but one of the important religious and moral leaders, not only of our time, but of recent history. I think he's been playing, Andrea, just an extraordinary role in this earth, talking about issues that many people would prefer not to talk about them in a very courageous way.
We observed you taking a lot of notes during the speech, perhaps when he referred to Dorothy Day.
Did you know who Dorothy Day is?
I did, but I come out of a tradition that observes a lot of this, and I think you do as well.
I would say the vast majority of the American people do not know who Dorothy Day was, and the fact that he mentioned her as one of the four examples of people that he admired was rather extraordinary unto itself. Dorothy Day died in 1980. She spent her entire life working amongst the poorest people in this country. She was a socialist. She organized workers to stand up against the wealthy and the powerful. And the fact that the Pope signaled her as one of the leaders that he admired tells us what his view is in terms of what we should be doing around the world in terms of income and wealth inequality and poverty. And the need to fight for justice.
And the fact that he put her in this pantheon with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Abraham Lincoln, right, and Thomas Merton. My colleague Chris Matthews was pointing out that Thomas Merton has been such an influential figure to those struggling against substance abuse and struggling to reform themselves. That these are four figures that he chose,
yes,
and it tells you so much about his moral fervor and intellectual history.
Yes, and this is a brilliant man. I mean, I know that people think Bernie Sanders is radical. Read what the Pope is writing about, because he is not only talking about poverty and income and wealth inequality, he is getting to the heart of hypercapitalism, and he is saying, why as a society are we worshiping money? We're making money the golden idol, respecting and admiring people who have billions of dollars at the same time as we are ignoring people who are sleeping out on the streets, people who are going hungry, people who have no health care. And he's saying that is not the way we should be living our lives. That is a pretty profound critique of modern society.
So at the same time as he spoke out so passionately about climate change, and he sees that not in political terms but in religious terms, right, that it's a sacred trust,
yes,
and spoke out about poverty and about refugees and the son of immigrants, and we're a country, a nation built on immigrants. He also spoke about the sanctity of human life. So there are things that he spoke about which you in the Senate are going to be wrestling with later today.
Yes.
Another effort to strip out funding for Planned Parenthood from the continuing resolution, the effort to shut down the government as one minority attempt that is challenging this country right now. How do you and others in politics find ways to compromise and live up to the hope, the aspirations of this leader?
Well, that is, in a sense, what he also talked about, the need for dialogue. Look, my views have been very clear for 25 years. I believe that a woman has the right to control her own body, not the government. And I believe in gay marriage. And on those issues, we have deep differences of opinion with the Catholic Church. But on those areas that we can work together, the fact that we have so much poverty in a land of plenty, the fact that big money interests have so much power and so many people feel hopeless and helpless and not part of the political process. Those are issues he's talking about, and I think we can work together on those issues.